Hey guys, so I recently just hit 4,000 subscribers here on my channel. I am so thankful for each and every one of you. Honestly, I feel like I come to the YouTube world sitting in front of my camera here like completely real. I admit all the things I don't know, and I feel like I'm just always sitting down with a friend chatting about books, and I'm not trying to put on any kind of front, and I have just loved this last a little bit over a year now it's been since I've been on YouTube chatting with you guys, talking about books. Yeah, and so I thought I would do a little Q&A video. I haven't actually done this. We've got some bookish Q&A and then some non-bookish Q&A. I'm going to do it in that order. That way those people that just want to know the answers to the book questions can stick around for that part. Those that want to know more can stick around for that. But I just realized I got this mug for Christmas from Holly, who is Lovely Day at Holly. Lovely Day with Holly. See? Flaws and all. And I'm sitting beside my alpaca pillow, which is also from Holly. That girl is like, I don't know, excellent at giving gifts. She is definitely talented in that area. And I feel like I'm always, you know, holding a mug or sitting by my pillow doing something with something that Holly gave me. Anyway, I asked for questions in a variety of different formats. I did sent an email to my newsletter list. Some people emailed questions back. Some people put questions on my community tab when I asked. Some people left some questions on videos. So I've kind of compiled them all. I think I've separated them to like the bookish questions in one section and then the non-bookish in the other, but yeah, it might not be 100%. So let's just get started here. Any recommendations? Oh, also, like, I kind of read the questions while I was like copying and pasting them into this document, but I didn't really think of my answers, so some of these are going to be hard. Anyway, any recommendations for books with no romance, or at least a romance that doesn't feel forced? Pretty much most of the books that I recommend. If a romance feels forced, like then it's just generally not what I like. Someone did comment on my things I like in books, where I don't mind characters ending up together, but there needs to be something. It needs to take a while. Someone mentioned Anne and Gilbert, and that is a perfect one. I haven't even read the entire series, but I know from the movies generally what happens. I like that. As for non-classic books that would fit in this category, pretty much anything I recommend. Like if there's like a very obvious forceful romance that feels like it's like thrown in there, then generally I don't like the book. So yeah, one that I read recently, if you like more suspense mystery stuff, is Collision of Lies, which, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to grab all the books that I talk about today because I'm just doing this off the cuff here. So yeah, Collision of Lies was good. It was like suspense mystery. I can tell that there's going to be a relationship that develops over the course of this series. I'm okay with that. But it wasn't like, oh, I saw this person and now I want to like be in a relationship with them. So yeah, that would be a good one if you are interested in that genre. Next up, why did you decide to start a booktube channel? Oh, well, here's a good time to talk about Holly again. So she started her channel a while before me, and I was watching her, and it was finally just decided to join in because I like talking about books. But I don't have a whole lot of place in my life to do that. And so I thought it would be fun. I did not want to do it for a long time because I like to read, but I don't always like to analyze what I'm reading. I just wanted to be able to say like, yeah, I like this book, and no, I didn't. But now that I have been analyzing what I'm reading, I'm actually enjoying that as well. Yeah, so Holly made me do it. That's my official answer. What book or series made you fall in love with reading? Babysitters Club. There's just no way around this. That's all I remember reading from like grade like 4 to 6. Yeah, just that entire series. Who is your favorite author of all time? Oh, you guys, I knew there was gonna be some hard ones. Favorite author of all time? I don't know. I don't know if I have one. I can name a few. I like Brandon Sanderson. I like, there's a couple people that I've only read one book from. I think they're gonna be on the list, but I can't say that with just reading one book. Jamie Jo Wright. there's some patterns in her. Yeah, whatever. Everyone's got some flaws. I like Jamie Jo Wright and Morgan L. Boosie. Is that how you pronounce her last name? I don't know. Who else? Well, like Agatha Christie, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is actually probably top. If only he had more things for me to read. Yeah, I would say he's probably top, but everyone else is really close after that I mentioned. When do you find the most time to read? Right now I try to do it in the afternoons. If there's a little bit of overlap between when the toddler and the baby go down for a nap, that's when I try to read. I like reading in the evenings, but lately I can read like 2 pages and then I fall asleep. So I try to read in the afternoon and then maybe do some work in the evening because that keeps me up a little bit more. Do you get in a reading rut? And if so, how do you get out of it? Yes, I do. So when that happens, I start all the books. If a book is not keeping my attention, if I feel like I just don't want to read, I can feel that slump coming on, then I just starting more books until I have one that just grips me and I can like speed through it. And then usually that's enough to like put me back into like my normal reading track where I can keep going and just power through some of those books that were maybe dragging a little bit, or sometimes it just means like DNF the book and get it off the shelf and move on from there. Okay, now 2 people had the same torturous general idea here. So one person said, if I was stranded on an island with 3 book series, which would you pick? The problem is my favorite ones are generally like mystery suspense, but once you've read them, well, okay, can I just have like all the Sherlock short stories? That'll be 1. We'll count that as a series. My video, I get to make the rules. Series. Miss Marple. I'd pick Miss Marple series. Actually, I don't read a lot of series. So, what else would I do? That's 2. I don't know what else I would pick. I'm thinking, you know, it has to be long enough to be substantial so that you can read it over and over again. Normally I like duologies or trilogies, but like if we're going, like I can only pick 3, I don't want something that short. I want something with a lot of books in the series. One series that I pretty much own all of is Nancy Drew, and I haven't read them since high school. So maybe I'd take those along because they would be fun to reread. And there's like 56 of them. So yeah, I might get sick of those really quick though. Whatever, that will be my final answer. And then the next person is, if you could only take 1 book with you to a deserted island for the rest of your life, what book would it be and why? I'm assuming we're not counting the Bible, because that one would just be obvious. I would take the Bible. But if it had to be like a non-Bible book, it would probably be my complete collection of Sherlock. Oh, yeah, that's probably what it would be. That was easier than I thought. Do you have, okay, then there was a couple people that wanted to know my top 3, top 5, top 10, top 20 books. And they were asking, many of them asked if I had videos with those. And I don't have a video. I have a video with my favorite nonfiction books that I did in the summer. I do not have a video of my favorite fiction books. And I have decided, because of these questions, I will make one. Okay, true story, my battery died and then I kicked my tripod trying to get a new battery. Anyway, I'm back. I will make a video sharing my top however many favorite fiction books. This is gonna be hard because I wanted this year to make a list of each genre, my favorite books in each genre, but just to be like, these are my favorite books. That's gonna take me a while, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to think about this. And it will be coming. So I will not answer that question now because that's going to take some time. So, next one. Oh, this one's not a bookish one. I'm going to answer this one now anyway because if I'll just forget it. The question was, have you always lived in Canada? The answer is mostly, yes. Yes. For a brief 3 months after high school, I lived in England and was an au pair on the south coast. And other than that, I've always lived in Canada, yes. Oh, wow, this other one is also not, okay, apparently 2 of them snuck in that are not. If you could visit any place in the world, where would it be and why? Is it connected to a book? If so, which one? I've always wanted to visit Italy. My dream is to drive down the city streets of some Italian city on a Vespa scooter. And yeah, one day I would like to do that. Is that connected to a book? No, not really. I like pasta. I like carbs. I like cheese. And the Italian scenery looks good. I like old city streets. I like cobblestone. I like brick buildings. Yeah, I'm Italian at heart. Okay, top 5 favorite fiction books. That was mean. We're not doing that right now. What books have made the biggest impact on your life? That would be Christian nonfiction for me, for sure. And I do have a list of my favorite ones from like 6 months ago. And I'm going to do another one eventually because I've had a bunch of new ones since then. But I will leave that one linked because there was quite a few books that kind of gave us the push to adopt, and I shared some of those in that video. Current favorite type of book to read? Mystery suspense. That has always been my favorite book type genre, but I forgot about it for many years. Author dead or alive that you'd like to meet? I don't know. I don't really... Do I want to meet any of them? Maybe Agatha Christie. I feel like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle would be too snobby for me, but I think I could maybe hang out with Agatha Christie. Where would you rather visit? The Cytoverse from Skyward, Winter House, or St. Mary's Mead from Miss Marple? Oh. Well, Winter House sounds like an amazing hotel, but I would like to go hang out with Miss Marple in St. Mary's Mead, so I think we'd have to go with that one. Which fictional character do you adore in books but they drive you up a wall in real life? Oh, Sage from The Runaway Prince? The False Prince. The False Prince. Sage, and who is the other one? I think Spin from Skyward, probably. Those two. I love reading about them, but like, yeah, no, we wouldn't be good friends. Which fictional character would you most like to know in real life? So I guess that would be like not an annoying one. Who is no? Oh, I think her name is Casey from the If I Run series. She's got like good staying under the radar tricks, and seems like a all-around good person sticking up for other people. I quite liked her. Do you have any books that you remember reading as a kid but can't find now? Yes, actually. Because I want to do this childhood reads video at some point, read a bunch of my childhood favorite books. My mom used to go to thrift stores or even garage sales. If we were going to go on a road trip, she would buy me like 20 books and they would be on the floor in the vehicle, and I'd have like 20 books to read from during a road trip. And there was this one. It was like this girl was in a car crash with her sister, and her sister died and she had this broken leg, and I like clearly remember scenes of her like using a pencil to itch her leg in her cast. And I don't remember what else happened, but I remember it was like a lot of her dealing with the guilt of being the only one alive. That one. I have no idea what it was called. And yeah, I read a lot of like obscure books because my mom just just like found them at garage sales and stuff. What are some genres or tropes you've tried that you realize just don't work for you? Oh yes, well, I did a video of the things I like in books, and I'm going to do one of things I don't like in books. Insta-love is a fairly obvious one if you've been around here at all. What else? I don't know. I don't like things that work out perfectly all the time. I like things to be a little bit more gritty and real and not so much perfection. Do you have any books that you read as a kid that stayed with you and you later bought or reread as an adult? Oh yeah, lots of them. Bridge to Terabithia. See, now I'm getting my kids to read these books, like Bridge to Terabithia. Actually, I haven't even reread that one. We watched the movie, but I haven't reread it, so I want to do that. I got my daughter to read it. Told her she was going to cry. Also, what was the other one? Oh, I really enjoyed the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler. I've read that one. And Underground to Canada is one that we're going to be reading right away that I really liked. How do you read so many books? And also, how often do you read? So I read every day. Some days more than others. usually just like in little spurts. I have a video about how I read so much. It's just little spurts here and there. I'm okay with picking it up and reading a couple pages and then putting it down. Well, usually I'm okay with putting it down. Yeah. And what is my favorite time and place to read? So yeah, like I said, right now I'm doing afternoons. I like evenings, but I also like to stay awake when I'm trying to read. And my place is generally the couch, or like this chair is really comfortable. When I was going to school, I had an hour bus ride to school every morning and an hour bus ride home, and I read on the school bus every day. What do you like to see in Christian fiction? Okay, well, the video that I had that's like things I like in books is pretty much that, but I do have higher standards with Christian fiction. I like to see some character growth. If it's going to be a Christian book, I like to see someone that actually has a personal relationship with Christ. And then, yeah, like a lot of the things I said in my other video. Okay, so I think that was all for like the bookish questions, minus the few non-bookish questions that snuck in there. And then some more non-bookish questions. How are you doing YouTube, homeschool, reading, and possibly all the other things at the same time? Okay, so I have this YouTube channel, and I have a blog that I share these videos on, and also some of our fostering journey. I have a homeschool website, blog, and YouTube channel. Yeah, we homeschool, we foster, got a few other things going on. Yeah, so it is a lot, but I have always had a lot of things going on. I've always enjoyed having a lot of things going on. When I first started university, well, yeah, we'll talk about university in a bit because there are some university questions. But I was going to university full-time one summer, had a full-time job, started a photography business, and had just gotten married. Like, I always have a bunch of things going. I don't know, my brain is just always working, and even when I have a bunch of things going, I have a bunch more things I'd like to get going. It's just, I guess how I function best is doing a bunch of different things. Any tips for getting kids to read? Oh yes, I have a video coming up really soon on my, oh wait, actually, it'll be live before this on my homeschool channel. So I will leave that linked because, yes, I have a kid that like fell into reading naturally and one that didn't, and I've got some tips. What caused you to get involved in fostering and adoption? Okay, so I wanted to adopt ever since I was a teenager. I remember when we were dating, I told Jared that I wanted to adopt. I remember telling God that it was okay because I, as a teenager, had a lot of stomach pain, which I found out as an adult was Crohn's. But I remember telling God, like, it's okay if I can't have kids biologically because I want to adopt anyway. Like, it's always something I wanted to do. World Vision, they used to have that show on for hours where they had like kids in Africa that were malnourished and had flies swarming around them, and I always wanted to adopt from Africa. So it's always been on my heart. And then just before we started, I started reading some like adoption blogs and some books that kind of talked about it, and it just cemented it all. I felt like it was something that God called me to do, us to do, Christians to do. And yeah, and same thing with fostering. It wasn't necessarily, I didn't have that like always on my heart, but fostering is something that is in severe need in our province and honestly most places. And it was something that we could do. We had the space. I'm home all day homeschooling anyway, so what's another kid or two? And yeah, it's just not necessarily something we feel called to, actually. I wouldn't say that at all. It's not something that we are skilled at. Neither of us are very great with kids, especially toddlers and babies, but it is a need that we saw, and I do know that that is one of my spiritual gifts, is just serving, seeing a need, and like filling it. And I would love to see more people doing it. And I don't know how much longer we will do it. It's what we're doing right now. My favorite or most challenging part of fostering. The favorites is just, I guess, with our foster son, he's 2.5 now. And you know, just those cute little like words that they say that are like all messed up but are just adorable. Okay, so he calls peanuts me nuts, and just little things like that. And then also just seeing the growth. He came to us as a very, I don't know, like traumatized child, scared of a lot of things, and seeing how much that has changed in the last year. And then as far as challenging parts is just the unknown. Honestly, both the kids we have, they could be gone. They could be gone by the time I post this video. Unlikely, but possible. You know, it's just like that, not knowing like month to month how many kids you're going to have in your house. That is hard. And also just seeing that it's also hard on my kids, knowing that their brothers and sisters might be leaving. Yeah, it's hard to see that. Okay, next one. Do you listen to music? Not really. I have too many thoughts in my head to listen to music, but Jared is really big into music. He's a really good singer and can play guitar really well. So we listen to a lot of music in our home. My favorite is Ren Collective. I like the Irish sound that they got going. And yeah, I don't know, whatever else Jared is playing, I generally like that. How did you meet your husband? Oh, we started going to my family went to his church when we were 5. So we've known each other since we were 5. And then we started dating right before we turned 17. How did I meet Jesus? Well, I mean, my parents were Christians. So it's the whole, like, I grew up in a Christian home story. But it wasn't really until I was moved out when I, after high school, left my small little Christian bubble and, like I said before, went and lived as an au pair in England and lived with a family who were atheists. And that was like when I really like had to think about what Christianity meant to me and actually like decide, you know, is this for me or is it not? Like I had to actually decide, do I believe in Christ? Do I want to follow him? Do I want to have a relationship with him? And yeah, that whole time really just made me realize, like, yes, absolutely. I believe in God. I believe that Christ died for me, and I want to spend my life like glorifying him and serving him. And I don't know, I feel like that there's been a few moments throughout life, like, so that was a big one. Our adoption, the long journey that it was to be able to adopt Ephraim was like another one where it's like, oh yes, like I believe. And then also 6 years ago we switched churches and found like a wonderful community where I feel like I've just really been able to grow and, you know, learn about grace and forgiveness. And yeah, so I don't know, I feel like every few years there's something that makes me grow more. But I've like always known who Jesus was, but I feel like I'm always meeting Jesus. Okay, a few more left here. Did you go to university? And what did you study? Yes, so I took a year off after high school to go to England and work and such. Then I went to school to be, it was called a youth care worker. It's pretty much just like a one step down from a social worker. That was just a 1-year course. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to become a teacher or a social worker. And for various reasons, I chose to become a teacher. A decision I kind of still regret to this day. So I took my education degree and did my 4-year degree in 2.5 years because I just do all the things. I took a lot of extra classes during the school year, full summer load and stuff like that. Yeah, so I still sometimes wonder if that was really the right decision, but now with homeschooling and fostering, I kind of get to be a teacher and a social worker, so it worked out pretty well. Why did you decide to homeschool? Well, teaching. Being in the classroom made me realize how much time is wasted, how much time these kids spend away from their parents, and just the poor effects of like peer groups. I mean, not all kids are terrible, but I didn't really want my kids spending all their time with other kids because I felt like they needed more responsible people to be their role models. So there's that. There's the time wasted. There's, I don't know, I feel like every kid has strengths and weaknesses, and in homeschooling we get to work on the weaknesses but also like focus on the strengths, and I like that. Next question. Are you planning on adopting again in the future, maybe through the foster care system? Maybe. Our foster care system here in Saskatchewan is very, very much for birth families. If there is any sign that birth family is interested, and like I could be talking like birth mom or dad here, but I could also be talking like birth second cousin's aunt, our province will prioritize them. Unfortunately, from what I see, it is to the detriment of the children. It involves a lot more back and forth, like, oh, so-and-so's relative of so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so is interested. So kids go and live with them for a bit, and that doesn't work out, and they end up back in foster care. And then someone else comes forward and they go live with them, and then I find it's a lot more back and forth. The system here really focuses on birth families instead of children. So that all being said, if kids we had ever became adoptable, we would do that. But it's a process, and it doesn't happen. It happens, but like, I don't know. I don't know. Only God knows, I guess. What is your favorite book of the Bible? Ooh, James. Absolutely. I love James. Favorite Bible character? Oh, I don't know if I have one. Maybe Ruth. I really admire her ability to follow her mother-in-law and leave her country and, you know, the gods that her people in her country worshipped, and go with her mother-in-law and worship God. What editing software do you use for your YouTube videos? Oh, I use Filmora. I have much more expensive, better programs, but I don't really have the capacity to learn them right now. So right now I just use Filmora. I have a paid version. I don't know what they all have for versions, but I think it was like $50. What books would you recommend? Oh, no, I'm back into books questions. Oh, I'm so terrible at separating this. What books would you recommend for when someone is in a reading slump? Anything that makes you read quickly. So for me, that would be like a mystery or a suspense book, a thriller, like something that's going to be like a page turner or a really good middle grade. So I think it's very person specific, but maybe I could make a list of my books that got me out of reading slumps in the future. Tips for being able to read more or faster. Yes, I have a whole video on that. But a lot of it is just have a book ready so you can read in little bits here and there. Do you write? I know how to write. No, I think it's like, for talking about a book, probably. I've dreamt about writing books on and off. And sometimes it's just like, no, I just want to read. But then sometimes I'm like, oh, I've always wanted to write a free verse novel based on my grandma. She grew up in Mexico, in like Mennonite Mexico. And she has all these stories about like sticking sticks down tarantula or scorpion holes. I don't even know. I have like asked her so many questions and notes, like pages and pages of notes of her childhood stories and things that have happened. So I would really like to write a free verse novel on that, but I also think I like instant gratification more, and blog posts are more my style because then I can get that out there and have comments right away. I don't know if I could be like writing a book for a year and not hear any feedback on it. That would be hard. And the last question, do you have any tips for starting YouTube? Yeah, just start. Just start. And then after you've started, I think like don't worry about anything until you have like 10 videos up. And then I think pick a day or two each week and post videos on those days. Even if you don't feel like it, have videos scheduled, because sometimes that can push you to be your most creative, and it can also just make you grow by doing videos even when you don't feel like it. Yeah, so just start. Tell people that you've been like, you know, if you're commenting on someone's videos, tell them that you started a YouTube channel, and yeah, have fun with it. I am so thankful for this community. Yeah, so that was the last question. Thank you to all 4,000 of you, even though 4,000 of you won't watch the video, but all of you that are subscribed. I am so grateful that I get to like sit here, drink my tea, and talk about books. If my childhood self knew this was a thing, knew that I was doing this, I would be in so awe of myself. Like, this sounds like the most amazing thing ever. And I can't say job because, let's be honest, YouTube doesn't really pay much. It barely even supports my book habit. So yeah, this was fun, and maybe eventually I'll do another one down the road, but thanks so much for being here, guys, and just for always watching.